So, the deck of cards, which I call Messages from the Plant World, comes with a booklet, Seeds of Transformation. These are the seeds. I hope they're the seeds for people as they choose a card that will make a person become more aware or contemplate the deeper levels of what might be going on in their world. The book has an introduction to it and talks about how I got into plant spirit medicine, plant spirit healing, and it also talks about how you can sit with the plant, get to know the plant, and actually journey to the plant spirit if you should choose to do so. The second half of the book is really the essence of my plant journeys. This took quite a while, because I wanted to just get to the essence of each plant as best I could, and sometimes I would have a whole page written, and now it's 2 or 3 sentences. So each person who journeys to a plant may have their own journey, their own movie, their own experience, but if we were to take all of those journeys and those connections with the plant and communicate them as we did in some of the courses that I have taken and taught, we would find there would be a thread running through it that really spoke to the essence of that plant. And it's quite exciting to see when that happens. I remember in particular time when I was teaching a class and we all journeyed to sunflower. And it was so clear what sunflower was about because everybody was able to tap into that. So I've tried to do that in this book. And for example, here is the plant borage. And borage, what I have said here, encourages to trust our inner knowing and supports our creative self-expression. Good one for today. This plant spirit helps us overcome the fear of being seen. Oh, even better for today. Borage supports us to find our authentic voice and the courage to stand in our truth. Funny that I should choose that card today. So you get a sense of the plant and the plant spirit with this book. Now, as I say, each person may have their own experience with the plant, and I really encourage people to go out and connect with the plants and the plant spirits themselves. It will be more meaningful, but this is a deck of cards that we're not always able to find plants to go to, not where I live anyway, in Quebec, because we have a very long winter, and so we just have a few months where we can really get out there and hang out with those beautiful beings. So it's nice to have a deck of cards to reignite your connection with plants. So how to use these cards? Well, how I use them with myself and with my clients, and I usually just choose one card, one plant. It's always important to have an intention when you choose a card, and to put your energy into the deck in whatever way, through shuffling or cutting or whatever you want. And then I might say, what do I most need to know at this time about such and such a situation, or just in general? And then I will just pick a card, as I'm doing now. And the card is yarrow. So yarrow is the last card of the deck, and a great healer on many levels. And so yarrow, let's see what I said about yarrow. Yarrow reawakens our connection to spirit. Like its namesake, Achilles, it brings awareness to the vulnerable parts of ourselves. Yarrow helps us cut with the patterns that no longer serve us. Its message is to see beyond our suffering to the grace of our situation. Other people might use the deck differently. You might use the deck differently. You might want to get more information. And so there are a few layouts that I have encountered And one way that I use the cards a lot with my clients is to ask, when there are certain chakras out of balance, what does this person most need to bring their, let's say, heart chakra back into balance? And then I will actually pick a card for them, or ask them to pick a card, and then I will invoke the plant spirit and bring that in my healing work, right into the chakra. So a chakra reading is an interesting way of using the deck. And we can, again, by putting our energy into the cards and creating our intention, we can choose a card for each chakra that's out of balance, or we can just choose a card for each chakra. So, for example, I might just cut the cards, and then from then on, I would say, okay, what does my root chakra most need at this time? And it's Artemisia. Artemisia, the great mover of energy. And then we can go on from there. My second chakra. Plantain. What does my third chakra most need? Pine, the teacher. Funny. It's really interesting what comes up, I have to say. And my heart chakra. What's my heart chakra most need right now? Wild strawberry. We're tasting the sweetness of life. Sounds good. Wherever I'm here. And the throat. The throat chakra. Foxglove. Foxglove for balancing head and heart. Third eye. My favorites. Fringed gentian. Good for protection. Doesn't fully open up. And finally, the crown. Oh, there's borage again. Great. Well, it looks like I'm fully supported here today. And I know I didn't say anything about plantain. Plantain in the second chakra. What a beautiful journey I had with plantain. Plantain's such a plain looking plant, and but its plant spirit is quite beautiful. A beautiful woman who I recognize as a woman of wisdom showed up, and she knew exactly where I needed healing, and she was able to bring that healing to those places that were still in grief from the past. So that was the essence of that plant for me. And I always, whenever that plant comes up in my work or in my personal experience, I think of her. I think of her ability to just go right to the essence of what needed to be healed and to pull it out. And, you know, those of you who know a little bit about plantain on the physical level know that it's something that you can use when you've been stung, and you can, you know, chew the leaf and macerate it and stick it right on that sting, and it really does pull that ouchy energy out of there. So, yeah, that's a little bit about the chakra reading, and it can give you a lot of insight into what you need in order to bring your chakras into balance. And it's a lot of information, however. And I wouldn't just do this randomly on a daily level. I would do this in a kind of a ceremonial context where I might create sacred space and do a little meditating beforehand, and then do a reading like this and write it down and really try to connect more deeply with the meaning and the essence of these plant spirits. So in the medicine wheel, the East is the place of beginnings and also endings. And so actually I'm going to start not in the east, but in the south. Again, putting your energy into the card, having a clear intent about what you want to know more about and explore. Let's start in the south. The south is the place of the child. It's the innocent one, the place of innocence and trust. And really the question could be, who am I? And so you might choose a card and place it in the south of, who am I? And who am I in the roots of my being? Or in the center of my being? Beyond your story, who are you? The essence of who you are. And then we move to the west, and we can place another card in the west. And the west is about, the west is where the sun sets. It's about death and rebirth. It represents often what we need to transform or let go of. And so this would represent what you need to transform so that you can move forward on your path and in your life. How can you transform your past into a power story? So here we have Daisy, and I'll talk a little bit more about what the meaning of these might be at the end. In the north position, this is a place of mastery. It's the place where it's represented by wisdom and knowledge. And it's a place where we can give back to the greater whole from our wealth of experience. It represents the wise adult. And so we can choose a card for the north. Oh, beautiful. And it's ginger. And finally, the east, full circle, we come back to the east. And the east, as I said before, is the place of new beginnings. And it's also the place of endings. It's the place of spirit, the place of the rising sun, new beginnings. And so choosing the card, and it's Pond Lily. And finally, and we could really even start with the center card, or we could end with the center card. I like to think of that as the heart of the matter. What is the heart of the matter? And so the heart of the matter is represented by hawthorn. Okay, well, so Mullen is in the south, and Mullen has a lot to do with aligning our chakras, and especially being able to ground. So that's a good position for Mullen to be. Mullen is a great ally of mine. In fact, this picture was taken literally on my doorstep. They say that the plants we need will be on our doorstep, and this literally was on my doorstep a few years ago. In the west, what do I need to transform? Daisy, I consider this to be a plant for helping to transform fear and being able to move forward in our lives. So I see that as kind of appropriate to what I'm doing right now. And ginger, lovely story about ginger. This picture came from Pam Montgomery's Woods, and I really wanted ginger to be part of my deck, but I couldn't find a good plant to take a picture of. And so I asked her if she thought she might have some, and she went out and found one. And it was in a very special place, and she got permission for me to go and take this picture. So ginger is about really connecting with your life purpose and doing it and enjoying it. It has a lot to do with manifestation, manifesting what you've come to do. in the east is pond lily. Pond lily showed up for me as a plant that is deeply restorative, and with my clients when they're very exhausted, especially in the wintertime. This is a plant that I use. I use it to support the water element for obvious reasons. It's very similar to a water lily, but a little bit different too. It's not open, and it's more of a closed flower. But its roots go deep, deep, deep into this, pond-like, swampy-like soil, and there's so much richness and aliveness that comes from that. It's deeply, deeply restorative in my experience. And hawthorn, as probably many of you know, has a lot to do with the heart. So the heart of the matter is a heart plant. Hawthorn is one of those plants that has thorns, and so there is a bit of a two-edged sword. And I use it for healing very deep mental emotional issues with my clients. I'm not sure why it's showing up here today. I guess maybe I have something to work on here. So that's an example of a reading based on the medicine wheel as I know it. Medicine wheels might be a little bit different depending on where you learn about them and the area of the world that you learn about them. But that's my experience of them. And so I just wanted to share that with you.